would die for one. Andre. Yes! From out of nowhere. Hold two. Armbar.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy?
Still got 200 more.
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5 times the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Game, I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H, Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke in my face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like a muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the venue, best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you ain't down with that, then I got two is what you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, holding up the cup. Let's be busy 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. But a square peg in a round hole just never seems to fit. And you
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. I am your host, Lachlan Albert, and I'm joined tonight by a man who, when they say let them fight, they weren't talking about him, but they let him fight anyway. Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, mate?
I stand on the outside and watch them fight while distracting every now and then.
They let you fight a couple of times. It didn't go your way.
Yeah, I know. They'll learn that. They've learned from that.
And heavy is the beanie, Jeff Setti. Jeff, how you doing, mate?
I'm under a heavy beanie, apparently, Lachlan. How are you?
I'm doing good. It is always good to be here on a Thursday night at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia, where you can be a part of the conversation. Get in the chat. Let us know what you think about what's going on in the world of wrestling, both in Australia and around the globe. We have a bunch to talk about, including some massive shows in WWE, Money in the Bank absolutely kicking off, and followed by, huge news both from that event and from the following WWE programming, and some big news in AEW. It's all going on, but this being Wrestle Radio Australia, we always want to make sure we're up to date with the Australian stuff, and there were a couple of big shows this weekend. I think we might start with the one that may be less impactful in the scope of Australian wrestling, and that's PWA's Let Them Fight. PWA has a really good kind of momentum in terms of having their big shows as well as having their, I guess, quote unquote house shows that they have more regularly, which aren't as big a deal as, the Coliseum shows or those types of things, but are able to keep storylines progressing. And that's what we saw here at Let Them Fight. So I'll run through the results, and then I might run through all the results and we can have a chat about some of the highlights from it. Opening the show was Danger Paul, Reese Angel, and Skaterboy Pidgey defeating the team of Hari Singh, K.E. Prince, and Tony Sin. After that, Jack J. Bonza defeated Jimmy Townsend. The team of Aaron Jake and Belle Pierce, the PWA Tag Team Champions, defeated Billy Preston and Cosmo Cooper. After that, Charlie Evans defeating Kai Drake one-on-one in tag team action. Third Eye, Ty Thayer and Xander Sullivan, accompanied by Shelston, defeated PPK, Frankie B and Nikki Van Blair. And in the main event for the PWA heavyweight title, Jessica Troy managed to retain, defeating Lena Cross. This is a stacked card, and this is one of those shows where you look at the talent that a company like PWA has, that they can just put this on as, you know, a show. There's one title match on this show. That's the big thing. And everything else is building towards the bigger events of the year. So it's really impressive what they were able to put on. Any highlights in the results here for you, Jeff?
Oh, definitely that main event. You know, that's one I'd want to see anyway. Two of Australia's finest wrestlers in Lena Cross and Jess Troy. And there's, you know, up and down that card, I'm a little bit intrigued by Jack J. Bonza and Jimmy Townsend, to be honest. I think that could either be fantastic or really bad. It could go one of either way. And you know, I'm just being a bit honest, I think. And I like this sounds of the opener. If you remember after their Rumble, how impressed I was with Hari Singh, and I'd like to see him, you know, featured a bit longer, and I guess he would have been in this match. So, you know, I'd be down to watch this one. It sounds like a beaut.
Yeah, I also like the way that, you know, PWA has used that King of the Metro Rumble as a launching point for talent to then bring them in on shows like this. And that's in the form of, you know, guys like Third Eye as a team getting a good win on this show after, you know, we had Xander come out and eliminate one of the Velocities, taking advantage of that tag team issue that those guys are having, and that gives you the chance to accelerate those people up the card, you know what I mean? And like seeing Cosmo Cooper in a tag team match against the tag team champions, as well as that big, you know, 6-person tag opener. Todd, what are your highlights from this card?
Well, it's like I'd really like to see Charlie and Kai Drake, because I think that'd be a great match, because neither of them hold back when it comes to like the way they hit. So that'd be really good. I'm actually really surprised that, like, I know that you don't really want the costs involved and stuff like that for streaming every show, but I'm really surprised something like this, I don't know if it has or not, hasn't been filmed to be put on YouTube or something like that, just to keep the product fresh in people's minds between these big shows that they put on, like Triller. And that it's sort of just surprising, especially when you've got a match like Jess Troy and Lena Cross as the main event. That's something you want more people to see around the country, around the world. So it'd be great to see that on like a YouTube.
And this
overall, like the start of the card with the Danger Paul, Reese Angels, Skaterboy, that's a lot of the guys that were like 2-3 years ago, the Green Dingoes, now getting that progressive move through the ranks. And so it's really good to see the way that they're doing that.
Yeah, I was talking the other day about Lena Cross, and I think I tweeted about it, just the fact that we often talk about, like, you know, what the top tier of Australian talent looks like, right? Jessica Troy is a name that comes up all the time in those conversations. And the more I watch Lena, the more surprised I am with, relative to other people, how little she comes up, considering the fact that we have her here a lot, but she's also, you know, doing those shows over in Japan consistently. And every time I've seen Lena, she has been absolutely killing it, right? Her presentation at World Series Wrestling was fantastic. She had up here in Queensland that match against Eugenie, which I felt was very generous from her as well. She made Eugenie look like a really good fighting underdog babyface while still looking like a dominant heel who got the victory in a strong way. And, you know, I just think that she's absolutely excellent and really needs to be considered. You know, when we talk about names like Jessica Troy, we need to be mentioning names like Lena Cross as well. She really is that good, I think.
Yeah. I No argument. The thing that strikes me every time I see Lena is how it's actually Lena. You know, how it, like, there's little gimmick there. It's a wrestler. It's someone who goes out and wrestles fucking well. You're just watching a great person in ring.
Let's face it, girls her size don't just grow on trees either.
No,
do you know what I mean? She's a tall girl, and they're hard to come by, especially in Australian wrestling. Because no offense to them, a lot of them are just tiny. They're tiny people. That being said, I will say that at World Series Wrestling, I couldn't believe how small Ash by Elegance was.
That's true.
I didn't realize that's who she. I didn't realize it was her when we first saw her. I was like, "Who is it? Oh my god!" She's turns out that the TV adds a couple of inches as well as pounds.
Just ask Batista about that. Anyway, let's keep going.
And Tim Wilkes in the chat, we love having you hear people like Tim saying the more shows like this talk about Lena, the more Lena's popularity will rise. And that's one of the things that I think is we just need to make sure that, those talents aren't going unnoticed when they're, consistently putting on great work. But speaking of consistently putting on great work, in another state, there was a show built around one of those people. Jeff, did you have something to add before we move on?
I was just about to say, don't forget Lena is going overseas a lot, so her level of growth is outstanding for someone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Todd?
And the next one we cover is probably something we might watch if it's up on YouTube for next week's show. So we're going to talk about it. We'll talk about the results and all that stuff, but we'll probably cover it more in depth when it goes up on YouTube and we can watch it. So hopefully next week.
Absolutely. The show RCW, Heavy is the Crown. RCW, whenever we do watch them, I'll also say, I'm consistently so impressed. We know that they churn out just top quality stars. And for, I would say, the second time, an absolutely dominant woman coming out of this company, heading over seemingly to the US. It's great to see that for, a small city, really, in Adelaide, that there is this quality of wrestling. So at the top of the card, Jet Armstrong, who was accompanied by Dr. Richard Guda and Jimmy C, defeated Down Under, who was accompanied by Big Brody Marshall. Pardon me, also a big part of this show was the C4 Absolute Grand Prix.
Yeah, sorry, before you go on, mate, sorry about that. Jet and Down Under, with the Brody Marshall and Gouda thing, that's got a lot to revolve around who's going to be the new GM at Riot City Wrestling. So Gouda's running for it as well as Brody Marshall. So that match was sort of something to do with that. We'll see more when we actually watch it.
Excellent. I love the idea of Brody Marshall as a GM. He's a great fit for a role like that.
Yeah. I actually gave him a little bit of shit because if you have a look at it, they put graphics up of the cartoon of the two guys that are running for it, and they were really generous with Brody with the greys. They really were. Like, I messaged him and said, mate, they've done you a great service, haven't they? They really dodged those greys. To which I just got to shut up. So
Big Brody Marshall looks distinguished. I don't know what you're talking about. I've learned my lesson when it comes to saying things about wrestlers. In the C4 Absolute Grand Prix, Sigma defeated Zach Sabbath in only just over 3 minutes. Is a huge... Yeah, thanks, Jeff. A huge victory for Sigma, considering Zach Sabbath is a big name within Riot City. So to get that Absolute Grand Prix victory in quite a short amount of time...
Sigma is also the former Kurt Barron from SCW. So the repackage. So there we go. Yes, Les Grayson. That's true. Tim Wilkes says Les Grayson, you Todd. That's true. That's because I have to deal with you shits. All right? Brody doesn't have to deal with this on a weekly basis.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. There was a number one contendership battle royale for the RCW Grand title. This one had Aaron Only, AMT, Katie Trey, James Cray, Banjo Powers, Mickey Fortune, Nick Armstrong, Red Smash, and Violet Blitz. The winner of this one ending up Banjo Powers, the new number one contender for the RCW Grand title. I think that this is a really interesting decision, especially with what we're going to talk about in a second with who's holding that RCW Grand title, because there are some big names in that match who make a lot of sense in that spot. Katie Trey held that title recently. We got a lot of love for James Cray here. Mickey Fortune on a tear since returning. Nick Armstrong, I think, is absolutely at the top of his game with the way he's been appearing in MCW as well as RCW. So Banjo Powers, who is not someone who has previously been at that kind of main event level, winning this and getting that opportunity, I think is really interesting and a real...
He is very, very popular at Riot City Wrestling.
Fantastically popular. And I think it shows the confidence that RCW has in the guys that it is bringing up over the long term, right? Mm-hmm. We've been looking at Banjo for a couple of years over the course of this podcast, and we've been able to see his improvement, starting off as, someone who was around, but definitely on the lower card, and him building that skill set and working his way up to the point where it makes sense for him to be in the main event. So I think that's excellent.
Yeah.
Moving on from that, speaking of that RCW Grand title, it was on the line. Chris Basso, accompanied by Benjamin Rosenthal, to defend against Matt Hayter. Matt Hayter getting the win in this match, but by disqualification, meaning Chris Basso retains the title. Basso is part of this heel stable on top of RCW with Dean Brady. Is obviously Chris Basso is a stalwart of RCW, someone who's been around, killing it there for a long time at the top of that company. And I mean, Hayter is similarly someone who is always in the conversation for best in the state as far as wrestling goes, and really across Australia. So this is the kind of match where I wouldn't want to see that result straight away. I like that this is probably going to be extended out with the DQ victory. Do you agree there, Jeff?
Yeah. Don't forget that Hayter also backed up Delta of late, going up against that stable.
But Hayter was also in a tag team with Basso for a long time. They were best friends. It was a very big feud. Very big feud that sort of ended. So sort of revisiting that, and it sort of made sense for him to come in and help Delta against those guys.
Yeah. So I think that it's as much that Hayter wants that title as Hayter wants to get it at Basso and his cronies.
Yeah. And it also, for a show this big, keeps a lot of the big names in the spotlight across the card, right? So you've got Dean Brady and Delta in the main event, but they're also associated with Hayter and Basso, who are, having that, I would assume, end of the first portion of the night, probably leading into intermission after that match. Keeping all of these big players central to the whole show, I think, is really important. Yeah, and Tim Wilkes agrees. A lot of history on both sides of Basso and Hayter. So I think that's exciting long term.
I will say, because at the run sheet that we've actually got the run times of the matches. There were some really short matches on this card. Literally the only ones that went into double figures was the main event, the tag titles.
That's it.
And that's it. Everything else was under 10 minutes for matches. So it's going to be really interesting when we watch it, what happens in these matches. I'm actually really excited to watch it just to see what they get done in the time. You can tell what Sigma and Zach Sabbath was going to be if it was 3 minutes, because it was 3 minutes 16, so it was a quick match. So you can imagine how much they must be pushing Sigma to have him beat Zach Sabbath that quickly. So it's going to be very interesting when we actually get to get our eyes on the match. And also, the Goodwood Community Centre, which I think is where this thing was sold out. So that was really good to see for Delta's last match in Australia.
Wonderful.
Exactly.
And 316. That's all I heard. 316. It was 316.
Yep.
You got it.
With going through there, the main event being, 39 minutes, there's obviously a lot of focus being put onto that match. And we'll talk about it more, but I believe more went on after that match as well. So when you do have that kind of huge main event that's probably got fairly long entrances before a 40-minute match with promos that'll play beforehand and stuff going on after, if you've got a main event where you're looking at about an hour, all things considered, I would say, it makes sense that the rest of the card is shorter.
And also, let's face it, that's what everyone was there to see.
100%.
So,
and speaking of entrances, I believe Delta was carried in on a sedan chair, which is quite
yeah, it's carried in Macho King style.
Yeah, deserves every step.
And I think that that's really good thinking by RCW, knowing what the fans are there to see and using the rest of the card to prop that up, but then also involving other people in that match so that even though Delta is leaving, there's still a lot of the people who are involved in that big moment who are going to be there next month. And you can come see them again, and it's going to be a great show, you know? So I think that's excellent. Tim Wilkes exactly right. Got to give the people what they want. After that grand title match was another title match. This one, the RCW Tag Team titles on the line. The team of Thorn Enterprises, the champions B.O.B. and Kai Toa, defeating the Kings of Ruin in the form of Havoc and Mike Boomer, which still a crazy team to exist as far as I'm concerned, seeing Havoc and Boomer in a team there. And Izzy Shaw accompanying Thorn Enterprises as well. So again, this is one of those times where this is the other match that went over 10 minutes, but only 11 it went. It's good to see such established names working with guys like B.O.B. and Kaitoa and really shoring up that card for the future while still spotlighting the guys who have established themselves. You agree, Todd?
Yes, 100%. And Kaito was one of those guys that I believe was one of my guys to watch in this year because like he's got a lot of those that raw ingredients that you can see becoming something really big. So it's good to see him get this spot and have a bit of a run. So it's good to see him do that.
Absolutely. And then moving on there, another match in the C4 Absolute Grand Prix. Vincent Di Maria not managing to get the win over Snacks. That's SNAXX for anyone wondering why I say it that way, because if you've got a crazy spelling of the name, we've got to give it a bit of a crazy pronunciation. I love the C4 Grand Prix. I think that it's really cool to have those kind of round-robin tournaments that can be in multiple spots on a card, building towards something big without necessarily having to have a whole show built around them. So I think something like that. And we talked about it, last show where we were talking about EPW doing the Invitational there and having a couple of matches throughout the card that's going to build to something down the line without having to take over the whole event. So I think that's really excellent stuff there. And having someone like Zach Sabbath in it helps establish those names who you don't see as often. So I think that's
100%.
really cool. But the main event, I mean, this is the one that we're here to talk about. Dean Brady, Delta Brady, no holds barred, an almost 40-minute match, plus everything else going on around it. Delta leaving Australia with this as her farewell match to the country. Dean Brady managing to get the win in this one. This is a match where I have to assume that everyone who wasn't in that building is chomping at the bit to see this match. I'm really excited to see exactly how this played out because having Dean Brady get the win here, I think I'm not surprised by it because you can still have Delta and the show standing tall. And it gives that energy to Dean, who is sticking around. Again, he's going to be here next month while Delta's off conquering the world. So you want the people in Adelaide to be able to come and, go, oh, I want to see Dean Brady get his comeuppance for beating Delta, presumably through nefarious means, because obviously Dean is associated with the champ Chris Basso. So there's going to be interference there and it's no holds barred, so it's all legal. I think this is a really cool way to keep interest in the RCW brand while also celebrating everything that Delta has done in her relatively short time in the Australian wrestling scene.
Yeah, I mean, what can we add? She's incredible.
Okay, and we haven't seen it yet, so I'm not gonna go like fully the way I would normally when we review a show, but I just get a real feeling, and I was thinking about this driving home today while I was thinking about the show tonight and what we were going to talk about, and I don't know if RC Dub haven't kind of missed the boat in turning Dean babyface during that match.
You're getting a lot of blank stares here, Todd. I disagree. I hear what you're saying, but I think that Dean's been babyface a lot in recent memory, right?
Yes, he has.
Both
that is true.
Alongside Delta and doing his own thing. I think that Brady LTD were huge for a while there, and the rub that Dean got from being in that tag team, I don't necessarily know that double dipping on that positive association is the way to keep interest on Dean, while Dean can claim to be Delta's brother literally any day of the week forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he goes to turn face, you just put those Brady LTD promo packages together and remind everyone, hey, we like this guy. And I don't think it's hard because he is such a likable dude, right? He's got a very positive energy about him that it's easy to cheer for. And I think, I don't think there was ever going to be anyone else for Delta's last match in the country. I think it was always going to be Dean, right? So knowing that, either you have the face versus face thing going, or you end it with a face turn or whatever.
This is what I'm saying. Can I pitch to you what my thing would have been?
Pitch away, sir.
Okay. So Dean wins cleanish, but still relatively heely. Chris Rosenthal come in the ring. They start attacking Delta, blah, blah, blah. They pick her up. They give the belt or a chair or something to Dean to have Dean finish her off. And that's when he turns on Chris and thing, because that's my sister. I can't, I know that I've had all this thing, but at the end of the day, this is the last time I'm going to see her. The last time we've worked together. This is at the end of the day, this is my sister. And doing that, I think, would turn him a massive, babyface. And if you recall, every time he was Dean Brady with Dean Brady Delta, he was very, airheady, the dude from, you know what I mean? He was very much like the dude.
Surfer dude, chill, yeah.
Yeah, would come to the ring eating a donut, wearing beoxers while he wrestled. This as a different, and I don't disagree that he's probably still got a lot more to go as a heel. I do not disagree with that at all. I just think that this would have been a really good opportunity to turn him into a monster face. And have that last moment of Delta and Dean fighting together and buggering off Basso and Rosenthal in the ring. Do you know what I mean? Just for that last pop moment.
If they were going to do that, I honestly think he'd have to go away for a month or, for a show or two so people don't associate him with Delta always. I think by being a heel, Dean Brady, the person, is establishing himself as not being Delta's brother. And the risk you run is you run the risk of always having him associated. If he turns face here, it's that he's turning face because of his sister. And
because he loves his sister.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that he's stronger as a heel right now. The interest is in him being a heel for a bit, more so than him going, well, I've saved my sister, so I'm a face again. There's a disconnect there for me. And I think Delta's amazing.
I respectfully disagree because I think that leads someone for Chris to work with over the next couple of months.
Chris has got someone to work with.
Who's he got to work with? It's going to be Matt or it's going to be Banjo. Like, there's no real, like, with Matt and that, they've been doing it for a while now. With Banjo, there's no real meat on the bone because Banjo's thing at the moment is with his ex-partner, Violet Blitz. They've sort of got something going. So, but if they'd have done it the way that I just told you, there's some meat on the bone there.
No, I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
At the end of the day, it probably is. This is just me throwing out something where I think maybe they might have missed the boat where they could have done something big with Dean.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yes.
I think that this is not just to be like, we think you're wrong, Todd, because I think it's good.
No.
I think it's a good booking idea. But I also think that Dean has been heel, 6 months? When did the old guard get together? Like December, right? It hasn't been all that long. And I think that RCW has an absolute wealth of talent, right? So you can have, if we're just looking at what we want Basso to do with the title, you have, even if just looking at that Battle Royale, Katie Trey. Have Katie Trey do a bit of face stuff, go for that title again. James Cray. Have Cray come for the title as...
Cray's a heel as well.
Okay, Mickey Fortune. Have Mickey Fortune do the underdog baby face, make that a long program. Red Shaw's waiting in the ring.
But are you just doing... Red Shaw's turning heel, I think? Or has turned heel?
And turned heel, but then I think he might be on the way back in the other... I'm not sure.
Yeah, but like Mickey Fortune, that's fine, but that could come off very much a reheat of Delta at this time because it's so close together.
Look, I think this is something we're just not going to agree on.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, but I had a point that I was working up to there, was that I totally agree that it would be really satisfying to have Dean turn here. What I think would be more satisfying is 6 months or 9 months from now, you continue to have Dean on the sidelines of the old guard team. Like, remembering that he was champ not that long ago. He had the Emerald Crown, right? And it's not that long ago that he lost that. And then it got, it got merged with the heavyweight title to become the grand title. So he's got a little bit of a claim to that. I held part of that belt not that long ago. And I joined up with you, and now you're holding the belt, and then I beat up my sister for you, and then I've stood at the sidelines while you do this and that, and you build and build and build and build, and then after a year and a half, then he snaps. Then he starts to beat down Basso and go, I'm done with this. This is my time. It's not your time anymore. I'm not going to be the one who makes you the big name. I'm going to be a big name myself. I think that's electric. And I don't think you get that turning Dean babyface after 6 months.
So essentially he'll say, your time is up. My time is now.
Yeah. Something along those lines, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so.
No one would get over using that, though.
In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money's stacked now because I can't turn the swell off. All right, there is... I know way more John Cena lyrics than anyone needs to know.
What was that?
He's a bad, bad man.
He's a bad, bad man. All right,
Who is? I can't see anyone. Anyway, let's keep...
He's a soldier, and he'll stay under you fighting.
Please don't.
That's hilarious.
There is a lot of great stuff happening in Australian wrestling, and obviously we've been going on for a while now about how fantastic Delta is, and once again we wish her the absolute best now that her time being just an Aussie wrestler is done and she is, forging paths anew. It is going to be great to see the way Delta dominates the world and expands the Delta Dome. But she is far from the only person in the Aussie wrestling landscape that is worth checking out. And this weekend, there's a bunch of shows that you can go check out, basically no matter where you are. If you're in New South Wales, by the way, big shout out to Michael Lee. for providing these dates. Someone who, Michael Lee, a name who is always supporting Aussie wrestling around the country. So big shout out to him for the great work he does. In New South Wales this weekend, both on Saturday, July 13th, you've got Australian Wrestling Superstars with Contenders Battle Royal. That's got some huge names in it, including an 8-man tournament with people like Ricky South and Paris De Silva. That's going to be really exciting. As well as that, Integrity Sports Entertainment has Unstoppable that night. So definitely worth... I actually think I might have gotten the shows mixed up. I think that tournament might be on Unstoppable.
And the Battle Royal
show
like, wow,
has... Yeah, the Battle Royal show has, believe it or not, a Battle Royal on it.
Have you had some of what I've had? Is this what's going on here?
Oh, I must have.
He's got a contact eye.
So that's going on in New South Wales. If you're down in Victoria, Professional Championship Wrestling has Carnage on Saturday. It's all this Saturday, as well as that up here in Queensland. If you're up north, you can catch Queensland Wrestling Alliance, Kings of Quizzard, and the Technical Wrestling Wizardry Blizzard on Saturday night, which is such a great name for a show. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I have to, because I was thinking there going, this is going to be fun.
Kings of Quizzard and the Technical Wrestling Wizardry Blizzard is an awesome name for a show. And
you see, Todd, there's a it is, but there is a musical group called King
Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
And the Quizzard Lizards. Yeah,
please don't.
And so that's why Lachlan is familiar with it. Also,
yeah, gotta love a bit of the Giz.
Let's be fair.
Also, Todd and I have a little baby promotion up here that we love very much, and that's Wide Bay Pro Wrestling. Except no imitations on Saturday night, which I can't wait for. We've got Jake Taylor in a triple threat main event with Mitch Ryder and our champion Yeet Stevens, as well as a bunch
also the OPW title is getting defended. Adam Brooks and Moko Kai, which will be an absolute banger of a match.
That will be fantastic.
Yeah, anyone who's seen Moko Kai work knows that he is the business, and seeing him up against Brooksy, I'm so excited.
He's legitimately somebody who like, even though he's around a lot of Queensland wrestling, he's never and done some really good stuff at UPW when he first really started. Hasn't really gotten a chance to showcase how good I think he is anyway. So this match on this weekend with Adam Brooks is his first real chance to spread his wings and try against some, like, let's face it, some internationally renowned competition, because that's what Brooksy is in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
like when he's one of the best in the country. So, and could have been one of the best in the world if a pandemic hadn't hit us. So it's going to be really good to see him go up against him this weekend.
I mean, how many months ago was the dude having a TNA title match against Moose? Right? Like that's what we're talking about. Brooksy is obviously stellar, and I think Moko Kai, and especially if people saw Moko Kai as a UPW champion during like that COVID era, did a really great job, but has improved seemingly daily since then as well. Like the work that Moko has been doing to constantly be better than his last match is absolutely sensational. So Accept No Imitations up in Maryborough is going to be excellent on Saturday night. But there's
how do I get there? I mean,
plane and a long car ride.
No, see, I'd love to be there. That sounds.
You can do the 4-hour each way drive with me, Jeff, if you can get up to Queensland. But
thanks, brother. Probably not going to. We'll talk about it after the show. Anyway, keep going.
To think that that's just what's coming up on Saturday, that pile of shows, right? And it's far from the only things that are coming up around Australia. Renegades We Choose Violence is on Sunday, July 28th at Northcote Theatre. So we're talking like just over 2 weeks away. That's got crazy stuff like Gino Gambino versus Lockie Hendricks in a steel cage match. It's got Crackerjack and Tyson Reed in a street fight. Caveman Egg versus Levi Nixon. Mitch Waterman versus Murdoch. But holy moly, guys, the Defy World Championship is going to be on the line at that show because Gore, the Snuff King, is challenging Kenta.
Now, Kenta, and in my opinion, is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He makes everything look tremendous. Just be at the show. Like, don't miss this show because shit, holy shit.
Like if you sub to us, you probably sub to On the Turnbuckle as well, and they had Mikey J on last week talking about this match. So I encourage you, if you got time, go over and check out the On the Turnbuckle with it's just Andy Coyne now. It's not Lord Andy. It's just Andy Coyne is their guest, but they also have Mikey J on there talking about Kenta. So it's a really good interview, really.
With more matches to be announced as well. That's insane. So head to renegadesofwrestling.com to pick up tickets for that one. Oh, it's Hideo Itami. I knew I recognized him from somewhere. As well as that, on September 7th.
Holy Moses.
Get me up to Queensland now.
Good Lord.
Oh, I knew that one would get you, boys. On September 7th in Victoria as well, MCW has
I'm the heel. Me.
Vendetta at MCW. MCW has been on an absolute roll lately, and if their previous events are anything to go by, this show will sell out. So even before I start listing the few things that I've got written down here, head to mcwtix.com.au, mcwtix.com.au, and grab those tickets before they disappear, because what's been announced so far is the Icons in the form of Rocky Monero and Adam Brooks defending their MCW Tag Team Championships against the Parea. As well as that, Erica Reed defending her MCW Women's Championship against Kingsley, and Slex defending his MCW World Championship in a triple threat match against Caveman Egg and Tommy Knight. Wow, Big Meaty Men Slap and Meet, that match. That is going to be insane.
It's going to be amazing. What a lot of people don't know about Slex is his surname is actually Slex Day. So it's going to be Dayman, Fighter of the Nightman. Yes.
Champion of the MC Dub, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, this will be
He's a master of pro wrestling and friendship for everyone.
For everyone, exactly. Dayman. So this will be incredible. Like, those three matches have already completely sold. Just amazing.
Yeah, so if you are not in the Melbourne area, if you're not around Victoria, there is a way to watch that, though. Stream Horizon is the new home of MCW. They're exclusively streaming MCW event from 2021 onwards with free access to every show between 2021 and 2023. That's crazy. There is so much good MCW stuff to watch. We've talked about it really consistently on this show because every MCW show was so worth watching. You would have to be crazy not to be jumping on Stream Horizon to check that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's also the OPW stuff with it. So you get the OPW stuff as well.
The OPW stuff, the Impact shows that were down here, the Australian Showcase, Impact Australian Showcase show is on there. There's some really good matches on that. Also, the Bret Hart seminar. Bret Hart, what was it called?
Panel.
Thank you. Bret Hart panel. I think there was another one as well. I think maybe the Eric Bischoff one. Panels on there as well. Mickey James. Her is also up there as well. Yep. Like, they've got a lot of good stuff there, and also some MLW stuff as well. So get around it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing MLW there because, like, if you want to go back and watch some MLW stuff, if you want to check out what Jacob Fatu was doing up until recently, that's a great place to do it. So head on over to Stream Horizon to check that stuff out. I believe it is streamhorizon.com.au. And then after you type that into your browser, open a new tab for twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia.
See, I knew it was coming.
Hit that follow button to get notified every time we go live. Hit the subscribe button so you can support what we're doing here. Come along every Thursday night at 8 p.m. We have fun. Don't we have fun here? Keanu Reviews in the chat knows we have fun here. This is the episode where I convinced Todd to either kick me off the show or murder me in cold blood. That's what I've set out to do tonight.
Here's the thing, like, I'm not going to kick you off the show, and I'm not going to murder you, because torturing you is so much more fun.
I keep forgetting you guys live in a different state.
Well, you know what? We've got more to talk about in terms of wrestling around the world, but I'm going to torture all of our listeners by making them wait for a minute while we play some juicy stuff that's coming up from Wide Bay Pro Wrestling as we take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back to talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling right after this.
You said you were going to tell her. I did not tell. I didn't lose the match. It's your fault. You set it up. No. She said she was going to be here soon anyway. I'm not telling you, bro. Have you seen her, man? No. She's going to be here anyway. Hey! Oh, you missed her. Sick show.
I know. I saw. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
You
big time.
and Brooksy? Oh, my goodness. July the 13th.
Oh, that's not the only date I would be worried about if I were you.
What does he mean?
You
gotta tell her, man. You gotta tell her.
Yeah?
Huh?
Yeah, what are you gonna tell me?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Mum?
Huh?
You remember Certified Puppy? Remember the whole
that
thing?
nuisance.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about him?
And we promised that if I win, he doesn't bother us. But if he wins,
you won, right? Yeah, you won.
That's the thing, Ginny. He won.
What?
He
won.
Like, he won. No!
It wasn't my fault.
He beat him first. He beat him first.
No. It was him. It was him.
Both of you guys lost against him. What the hell?
I know, and you have to go into state now, and like that's part of the wager, but
it was his fault though.
But you're gonna enjoy it.
Don't leave.
You better run. You better run.
Hopefully it's our food.
I told you, man. I ordered nice food. Sir. What about that pepperoni honey? Yeah. Oh, frick!
Seriously doing this again?
What are you doing here, CPAP?
Well, you're not meant to be here. This is a date for me and Eugenie.
Genie,
not you. Stop.
What are these flowers? How do you know I like dandelions?
They're not for you. They're not for you.
Bro, don't get this. You're in trouble.
Oh my god.
What the hell are you doing? What's the day today? Isn't it a school day?
Funny jokes. We're meant to go on a date, not you two. Me and Eugenie.
Yeah, what's Eugenie?
Why are you here?
Genie!
You ready?
Nah, she ain't ready, bro. You wanna come sit down?
It's okay.
Yeah, come inside, bro. Come inside.
Wait, you don't have to.
No. Sit. Sit will be more sit. No. You got this.
Okay, I can do this. I can go on this date. I can do it. Doesn't have to take long. Okay. I look good. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. What else?
It makes me happy. I know where I'll be. Right by your side. 'Cause she is the one. And girl, you're my one love. My one heart. My one life. For sure. Let me tell you one time. Girl, I love you. I'ma tell you one time. Girl, I love you. I'ma be your one guy. You'll be my number one girl. Always make it to you. Oh yeah.
Oh.
Hey, the date went really well. The date went really well. Oh, let me sit down. Yeah, the date went really well.
It went really well.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Anyway, look, I need to talk business straight away, okay? So, this Saturday, Wide Bay tag team match. Yeah. I cannot make it.
What?
I'm so sorry. I'm going to be in Sydney.
I can't do it.
I know, you've got a huge match, but that's okay. I sorted out business. I've spoken to the GM. I've got a solution. You guys are going to... You are going to tag with Certified Papi.
Wait,
you know,
what?
welcome to the family.
Papi?
Check him
What
out.
family?
Anyway, have some lollies. I'm going to go to sleep, guys. Yeah, good night. Good night. Anyway, sleep away.
Oh man, those guys clearly had so much fun making that.
Yeah.
You could see that in the obviously a lot of fun.
And absolutely everything that Moko and Toa do together just cracks me up. Them sitting there playing patty cake, waiting for pizza to get there. That got me proper.
Yeah. Trying to make Toa a heel when we brought him in was one of the worst decisions I've ever had in my life. Because it was just impossible.
He's the most likable dude ever.
He really is. But it was one of those things where, like, you could be a really good monster. I just don't think I can do it, boss. Like, why not? Just do it. Be angry. He's just not an angry guy. He just can't do it. Apparently, during one show, like, they were walking out and Genie's like, now, you've got to be mean to people. All right? And if kids put their hands out, don't hit them. Don't give them high fives. He's like, I don't know if I can do that.
The problem is, like, he looks like a beast and he wrestles like a beast, and then he smiles and lights up the whole room because he's just a lovely guy.
As soon as he opens his mouth, it's, oh frick! And you're just like, no, Toa.
Oh man!
But yes, that was fun. It was fun to see them put that together. So,
and all complaints of cultural appropriation can go to Todd Eastman, care of Todd Eastman Enterprises.
Oh fucking! Seriously, if you're upset by that, turn off now because I don't want to fucking have you on here. Seriously,
I was joking.
No, I'm talking. There are people like that, and I'm just saying.
Alrighty. I think it's time we talk about some money in the savings account. We ready for it?
Yeah.
And because I know you've got to do the bit after I do it, so I'm just giving you time to prepare on how to. Yeah. All right.
There we go. Oh,
you ruined it. Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show, where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. Speaking around the world of wrestling, over in the US, WWE has been on an absolute hot streak as of late, and their latest event continues that. Money in the Bank going absolutely off, kicking off with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, Chad Gable, Jey Uso, LA Knight, all unable to climb that ladder and grab the briefcase, which Drew McIntyre managed to get a hold of. My problem with this match was that partway through, I thought about... I came up with an idea for a long-term program I wanted to see based on someone else winning, and it distracted me, and then when Drew won, I was like, oh, okay.
What was your long-term program that you wanted to see?
So this was my let's make Carmelo Hayes a WrestleMania main eventer in 8 months.
Oh, okay.
And it was, you have Carmelo Hayes win Money in the Bank, clean babyface style, come out on Raw the next night saying, obviously it's my dream to be WWE champion, but there's another dream. And I can, I've got a lot of time to achieve dreams, but this is Money in the Bank, and this is my key to being a WrestleMania main event star. I'm cashing this in right before the bell rings. Main event of WrestleMania. I am main eventing WrestleMania with this briefcase. I'm not cashing it in beforehand. I'm going to main event WrestleMania. And then you have a series of heels go, you're a kid. You are not a WrestleMania main eventer. If you're not going to cash in that briefcase and become champ, I will. Let's have a match for that briefcase. Have the match. He gets the fiery babyface win. You do that for several months. You have him lose in December, lose the briefcase, lose his shot at cashing in, lose his shot at main eventing WrestleMania, and then he goes, all right, guess I'm going to have to do it the hard way. Wins the Royal Rumble in order to achieve the dream of main eventing WrestleMania and go through that way. And then you have whoever took the briefcase off him, heel cash in, become champion. There's your main event, is him looking for redemption at the person who beat him for the briefcase, but for the title in the main event of WrestleMania.
I was waiting for here to go, he wins the Royal Rumble, somebody takes that chance off him, so he goes into the Elimination Chamber, then he wins that. And then, I mean, dude, you really willing to give him everything, weren't you?
There's a lot
I mean,
yes, it really
I mean,
is.
let's make stars, baby. Let's do it.
Far out. I've heard of strapping a rocket, but that was a nuclear bomb, son. Jesus.
Mello's proved he can do it.
Yeah, but he's also a heel.
He is
Kind of ruins
not.
you. He is. His first match was against Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, but that was a prove himself match. That
Oh, I
was
suppose because Cody's a heel. No, that's not. No,
Okay, yeah, I keep forgetting.
That's my bad.
I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, same.
I look. It wasn't the person I wanted to win, as you both know, but I thought it was a fine match. There weren't too many spots because they kind of gave that to another match in the card. But I enjoyed the Money in the Bank match, both of them, and I thought that it was paced really well too. There weren't there were no lulls. So yeah, I enjoyed this.
I'm glad that they kept the Wyatts out of it.
Yeah, me too.
Because we all thought that was what was going to happen. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But otherwise, I thought it was a really good way to start the show. If with what they were going to do during the show, this was the only way they could have started it.
And I think we all kind of agreed that, it was going to be, well, Punk interferes in Money in the Bank and takes out Drew, and then the Six interfere, and then they take out either Gable or Uso, and then... So the fact that there wasn't any outside interference in the match, I think was really, fresh in a way, It meant that you were looking at what was going on in the ring, and I enjoyed that. Following this... Once again, Sami Zayn manages to retain his Intercontinental title against all odds, defeating Bron Breakker, who he came back looking for that title afterwards on Raw. Rightly so. Breakker looked like a beast in this match.
Excuse me. Sammy made him look like $1 million. Sammy just... Breakker looked at him and Sammy started selling. You know what I mean? He just, from the very second, I thought this was great. I thought this was a great big man, little man match, but the little man's smart and wily and been around for a lot of years and is a bit of a veteran. I thought this was a terrific match. I really, really like Sammy as a champion now. It suits him being champion. And I think a bit of that was actually this match. And I think it really, really helped. And I think Breakker's going to be the one to take the belt off him.
Yes.
And I'd like to see what they come up with next month, particularly in stipulation.
Yeah,
I'm going to stop betting against Sami Zayn for this title because I've said he was going to lose it so many times.
Yeah, but that's his gimmick, though, isn't it? That's kind of his thing.
Every IC title match Sami Zayn has had, I'm like, well, Sami's not winning this one.
Yeah. but there are some guys that are kind of like that. Throwing it back to like Wide Bay, having Bobby as champion had people going, oh, he'll lose it this month. Oh, he'll lose it this month. And having constantly getting over the odds on that is sometimes a really good thing. And it's rare to find a guy that you can do that and make it believable.
Yeah.
Where with Sammy was because we thought when we previewed this, we talked about this being a bloody Ultimate Warrior type. Breaker's going to run through and destroy the guy because of the run he'd been on.
You kind of sold us on it.
Because that's the way they booked him so very, very strong going into this thing. That's the only way you could really see it going. And as much as a lot of people And I say a lot of people, like the wrestling media, was just like, oh, well, why have Braun lose this match? Why he lost nothing by losing that match. Let's face it, it took Sammy everything he had to beat him. And that's a dude that's main evented Manias. He's been in big spots, and that's a guy that took him everything to do to beat him. So and then the way that they booked him the night after on Raw, or the Monday after on Raw, sorry, like Breakker lost nothing by doing that.
No.
Proved he could talk in this promo afterwards as well.
Tim Wilkes says exactly the same. Breakker didn't lose anything by taking the L at the PLE, so future is bright. And Alex Fireheart says definitely preferable to have well, he's not winning this time, champ, so it's actually a surprise that they retain, rather than, well, this is going to be an obvious retain. I fully agree with that. I think that, having the champ be the underdog is really interesting.
But it's like I said, it's hard to find those guys that make that believable repeatedly. It's not as easy as just going, we'll just book him that way and it'll work. Because it doesn't with some people.
And that's the thing about Sammy, is he sells what his opponent can do so well. He convinces you that his opponent is unbeatable.
Yes.
Yeah, Jeff?
Yeah. I also really thought this was a great little match. Like, I really, what the story they told in those 13 minutes, you thought they had much longer than that because they told such a beautiful story. And, really, really good. Breakker is, if he stays smart, he is absolutely got such a big future in front of him. Really does. And he can either be a heel or a face. It goes either way. Great.
Absolutely. Moving on there, the WWE World Heavyweight title match between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins, with the extra stipulations that if Rollins won, Damian Priest would have to leave Judgment Day, and if Priest won, Seth Rollins would not be able to challenge for the World Heavyweight title for as long as Priest holds it. Got an extra bit of things going on when Drew McIntyre cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase to be added to this, forming a triple threat match before interruption from CM Punk taking Drew out led to Priest retaining. Interesting. What's the deal with Damian Priest? He's just a face at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Pretty.
He is. That's the way they're moving him. So it's the thing is though that then we didn't mention it here because you didn't go through it in depth and think he didn't kick out in that spot.
He did not.
He didn't kick out. The referee, referee didn't hit his hand down 3 times, but he didn't kick out. That was an obvious botch, and I think maybe Priest thought that McIntyre's music was going to kick in before the 3 hit. And so he didn't bother kicking out, or he'd been knocked a little silly. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is he didn't kick out of that. That was an obvious botch going into that. It sort of put a handbrake on things going into that last stand with McIntyre coming in. Jeff, sorry.
It did. It also made it really obvious that something big was about to happen, because otherwise his hand would have hit 3 and they would have done a match the next Monday on Raw where Priest wins it back. And, they speed up the face turn or something. So you knew that there was going to be something happening.
Yeah.
It's a shame because, they asked, a few people have asked, Trips what he thought in the press con afterwards. He goes, it's just shit happens. His whole response was shit happens.
I actually really liked that answer, though. He's like, again, refs call us final. I'll have to have a talk to the ref to see what happened in there. In other words, it's sort of like when I get to the back, I'm going to go, hey, dude, why didn't you just hit the 3? That was the impression I got, because it's probably the conversation I would have with the referee. Why didn't you just hit the 3, bro? Just hit the 3. We can work it out.
I hate to agree with Bully Ray, but he was on a podcast talking about this and said, look, things happened. It could have been he got nicked. It could have been a Q was late. Whatever it was, those things happen in a match. The thing that was the mistake was the ref not counting the 3, right? Because that's the referee's job. They are the thing that keeps the show realistic. They are the smoke and the mirrors. They've got to be keeping it real. And if the ref is not counting that 3 when it's clearly a 3, that's the thing that breaks it. Everything else, storyline-wise, you can recover.
Yeah. And also, can we address the whole people going, oh, why didn't Punk stop Drew from winning the Money in the Bank if he was going to just do it later on if he cashed into that? They're missing the point of what Punk said. Punk said, every time you have a title opportunity, I will stop you from winning that title. So what would hurt more? You going through that Money in the Bank match and winning the Money in the Bank and then cashing it in and losing it? Or not being able to win that Money in the Bank so you never get that title shot anyway?
Oh,
it hurt.
Much more. Much more.
Much more.
Really...
It makes more sense to me in my head than having him stop him win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah. The thing that's really interesting about this CM Punk Drew McIntyre storyline is it's actually like the injury has made it better because they're not able to fight
they're
that
not
much
able
on
to
TV
touch. Yeah.
And stuff. So it makes you watch the pay-per-views going, what the fuck is going to happen next? That's fantastic, and I'm all in for this. But I digress. Look, until that botch, this was a really fun match. Seth, as a grizzled veteran, is interesting. He's also doing moves that, you know, he hasn't busted out since Tyler Black, and it's really, really nice to see. I like the chemistry that Priest and Rollins obviously have. And I could take or leave the McIntyre stuff, but it is a way to proceed a storyline in the most fascinating way.
Yeah, but and I like the fact that at the end, there was like 2 things that were open. Like Seth wants to get back at Punk because that was the original program from Mania.
Yeah.
So they haven't forgot that at all. Like Seth still wants to friggin' like get him, especially after what he just did. So you've got Seth and you also got Drew both wanting to get at Punk. And Punk not really caring that much about Seth, but really wanting to get at Drew because Drew's got that bracelet thingy.
And I do want to say this.
Go on, Jack.
Sorry, I want to say I really liked during the match that Priest and Rollins were both looking towards the door going, come on, Drew, come on, come and do it. You know, I thought that was a really nice touch. You know, you've never seen that before. Also, McIntyre did say for weeks that if he won, he'd be cashing in during that match.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, really nice. Really nice.
The thing that I really like about the Drew bracelet is it's such a simple prop that makes a story work. It goes...
and inherently not valuable. So it's not like it's a gold chain or anything. It's like a 20-cent thing you can buy from a Fate. And you get somebody's name put on it, and he's got AJ and Larry on the thing. So those Taylor Swift friendship bracelets gimmick.
How long until WWE shops start selling AJ and Larry charm bracelets?
I'm surprised they don't already. To be honest,
for $20
I'm surprised
like you know
already.
that's what it's going to be.
I would say that McIntyre is going to break that bracelet at some point.
I think that the kind of only complaint. Sorry.
He's probably given the real one back to Punk. So he can
just in case.
Just in case.
The only, I guess, complaint that I have is I really like Money in the Bank as a long-term prop. I like seeing someone be a threat over a long term. Like, as much as we were kind of hoping that Priest would cash in already, because he did hold it for a while, like, I like that there's that constant threat of, oh, well, they could go in this direction. There's always this in the background to think about.
But then you've got the women's one to do that.
That's exactly what I was about to say. So I'm hoping that we see that with the women's belt, because I think there's someone who has the real potential to hold that for a while and taunt whoever the champs are. Because Chelsea Green, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria, Naomi, and Zoe Stark were all unable to stop Tiffany Stratton from climbing the ladder and becoming Miss Money in the Bank. And I cannot wait to see how bedazzled that briefcase becomes.
She's going to turn into a purse. She's already told them. They're putting a chain on the thing so she can put it over it.
That's so good.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Look, I adored this match. I thought this was terrific. I mean, Very,
Look,
very
I'm not going
spot
to. I'll be honest. The start of it was horrendous.
Yes, it was.
The start of it, I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a hard watch if this shit keeps happening. And then, I think it was that point where I think Tiffany did the swanton off the top to the outside, and then from then on they hit everything. But going up to that, it was like snake bit. I'm like, oh shit, this is not going to be a good match.
But considering what they all put themselves through, you can understand a little bit of nerves because it's not a typical WWE women's match, you know.
No, and also, I was looking at it, and aside from like Io Sky and Naomi, there's not a lot of veteran presence in that match.
No,
and obviously not a lot of, like Chelsea's done ladder matches before, but really, how many ladder matches do you think Zoe Stark, Tiffany Stratton, and Lyra Valkyria had before then?
Oh, very few. Very few.
So it's like there wasn't a lot of non-green in that. Chelsea wasn't the only thing green there.
No, but I've got to say, how amazing was, say her name, please, Lachlan?
Chelsea Green.
Thank you. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely amazing in this match. Took hellacious bumps while playing her character perfectly. The whole afraid of heights things. Of course she's afraid of heights. What else would she be? But I
liked when she grabbed the ladder and tried to knock the briefcase off with the ladder. Instead of like grabbing it and just and like that, and that the Michinoku driver Io Sky hit Lyra with under the ladders, and then I mean there were some big bumps in that men's one as well with like LA Knight taking that back body drop over the top rope onto a ladder. Yeah. Like all of those people in both of those matches killed each other.
Absolutely, but I think it's. Sorry.
Go. Oh, I was going to say, I just thought this was great. I've actually watched it twice. I watched it the night when I got home from the Gamescom, and then I watched it again last night, and it's just a terrific match. So well put together.
I think the thing that really impressed me about this match is I think it's pretty agreed that this is the match of the night. This was a real standout. And if you look at the star power in this match, like, you don't have any of the four horsewomen. You don't have Bianca. You don't have Rhea. You don't have Liv. You don't... Like, all of the people that the women's division has been built around in WWE for the past decade, none of those women were in this match. And yet, this match absolutely blew the roof off the place. Obviously, the start was not as hot as we wanted, but by the end of it, this match was absolutely killer. And long-term, the biggest names that were in this match were Naomi and Io Sky. You know, so that's a testament to not only how strong the women's division is in WWE, but also how strong the women's developmental has been in WWE. Because if you look at, like we were saying, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, Zoe Stark, like, these are people who a handful of years ago weren't wrestlers. And they're going out and putting on the match of the night. So that's fantastic stuff.
And apparently, I have heard, just before we move on, and I know you were about to, but just before we do, apparently Trips was very, very big on the person whose name I don't try and say because it deafens time. But you can.
I think that Chelsea has a future with a singles title. Like,
absolutely. And soon.
It has to happen. It has to. But Tiffany was the choice for this, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I literally put my money on her months ago. And so it's not a shock because, yes, give Tiffy the belt, obviously.
And Alex Feihart has said this about this match largely being made up of new people. Honestly, like, good. Fresh blood is what I feel these matches need to be. Less predictable, especially if some are rising stars. So I think that.
Well, you look at both of those ladder matches. Aside from Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso. Yeah, and Jey Uso is not really a veteran face when it comes to singles. So basically, like, Drew McIntyre was the only one with some real like long-term experience in singles competition in that as well. So again, more young, like more new names coming through and getting blooded into that thing, which is what Money in the Bank was always kind of supposed to be.
Yep. Well, it would be Drew and Andrade from the men's match. They're the only two that really have had any kind of experience on the main roster, particularly.
I mean, LA Knight did a lot in TNA, NWA.
But that's like let's face it, that's like NXT.
Yeah.
Like
that's
maybe even yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But the main event of Money in the Bank was a big one, 6-man tag action. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton taking on the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, accompanied by Tonga Loa. The official debut of Jacob Fatu in a PLE here. I love that dude. And seeing him, again, just to, wax poetic about a moment that I loved from this match, giving the Randy Orton draping DDT to Jacob Fatu. And Orton does the taunt and goes down to build for that RKO and slaps the mat and then looks up and Jacob Fatu is standing. That was electric. And that's how you use not only guys with experience and a long-term history in WWE to build up a new guy, but also just production-wise, the camera angles they used on it. Everything was perfect. And this is a great example of, A, the direction WWE is going in terms of production, but also the direction they're going in terms of who they are putting in main event spots. Because Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa are not established WWE main event stars.
No.
These are, for the majority of them, guys who've been in the company for under 6 months. Solo has been a heater as part of a large stable for the past 2 years, and that's it. And these guys put on a compelling main event.
I will say too, though, is a good use of no selling a move. And I know that I saw people online going, if this happened in AEW, everyone would be absolutely roasting it. So no, the problem is it happens in AEW every week. With every second move, nobody sells it. And that's the difference. So when you do it once, it's effective. If you do it over and over and over and over and over again, it's just something that's happening.
It's also the fact that the draping DDT is sold lethally. Like it is a move that downs an opponent for, a decent amount of time.
Enough time for Randy to set up for his cutter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
even enough.
I also like that it wasn't like he no-sold a finisher. He no-sold a powerful move when it was the first move he took in the match, right?
Yeah.
So that's another element there where you go, normally when Randy's hitting that, it's 2/3 of the way through a match.
And the worst part is, like, when I saw it happening, I've gone, fuck, they're going to bury this kid. Like, when I first saw him move to the side, hit the DDT, I've gone, fuck, what are they doing? And then when they know, I went, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Hand up, accountability. That's my bad. But yeah, like, as a main event, though, didn't hit for me. I thought they were setting up for someone else coming in, something like that, something just to have it end the way it did. The fact that that Solo Sikoa pretty much got his ass kicked for 3/4 of this match and then got the pin doesn't make me want to see Cody and Solo at SummerSlam. It makes me want to see Jacob and Cody at SummerSlam. And that's not the direction that they want us to go in.
I think this match would have worked better as the opener. And you close with Priest McIntyre and Rollins.
Yep, they could have done that.
Tim Wilkes says the women's Money in the Bank should have main evented. And I think I agree with that.
Sure. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that.
I just don't think that there was the star power in that match to be able to main event it.
There also wasn't a storyline going into it, and WWE.
If you'd had like Bianca in it, or like some of the bigger women's names, I totally could have seen that.
Look, the way I'll agree with world titles should have main evented is that if that world title match was the main event, I would have put dollars to donuts. We would have been getting a new champ, right?
Yeah, very good. Good call.
Right? So if you put that in that spot and then you have Priest retain, that is getting people not sure what's happening until the last moment, which I like that idea. Yeah, all around, I think Money in the Bank was a really good show, and we will talk about something else that happened in Money in the Bank a little bit later. But that wasn't the only WWE show on this weekend, because Heatwave was also on for NXT. On the kickoff show, which I didn't watch, so I don't know if either of you boys did.
We'll run through these ones quickly, so we won't go too in depth in this one.
Absolutely. Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovic defeating JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. And then on the main card, Oba Femi defending the NXT North American title against Wes Lee. The NXT North American women's title was defended by Kalani Jordan against Sol Ruka in a match that, for two women who have not been wrestling for all that long, was really good, I thought. After that, the NXT tag team titles were on the line, and Axiom and Nathan Fraser managed to retain over Chase U, Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, with Riley Osborne and Thea Hale. The NXT women's title was retained by Roxanne Perez, defeating Lola Vice. And in the main event, the NXT title was given to a new champion in a fatal four-way, with Ethan Page managing to fall his way into a victory over former champ Trick Williams, as well as Javon Evans and Sean Spears. Ethan Page, new NXT champion, very big move. And then coming through TV this week, we had Wes Lee not very happy, not sure where to go after losing that NXT North American title match, leading to a reformation of the Rascals on NXT TV, as well as, and Tim's asked for it, say his name. We needed a tag team partner for Javon Evans, and he appeared. I believe in Joe Hendry. So it's been wild on NXT. Wild.
I will say that Kalani Jordan and Sol Ruka was, like, if you like that style of wrestling, it was great.
It was great.
I know that there's been a massive argument online at the moment with Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez sticking their heels in on this one, and not saying that it was anything like Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and saying that they didn't like this because it was choreographed and rehearsed, whereas Ricochet's and that, they were able to call a lot of that stuff on the fly because they're very good at that. Yeah, I'm serious. The funniest thing is that, because I listen to Observer pretty much every day on my drive to work, and when they reviewed this, Brian Alvarez was going off saying I didn't like the Will Ospreay and thing 1 years ago, and look it up. I didn't even review it, I don't think. And somebody online, of course, went and looked it up, and of course he reviewed it and said it was amazing. But this was really good. They're both like former athletes, former gymnast type people. Working into that style, and that was and I hate to say it, but for a women's match, this absolutely blew me away with the moves that they were executing, because it's not moves that you normally see the women's division in American wrestling do. If you know what I mean. They seem to be very safe with their spots, whereas these two just seem to just let it all fly, which was really cool to see. Even though, like, again, I don't like particularly that style, I respect what they were able to do with it. And I thought they did that really, really well in this match.
I actually felt this is the first time since the Tyrant's been removed that this felt like an old school NXT special. This felt like you'd get back when it was, Puck and Sammy and Kev and Bo and a little bit of Seth and the Shield coming down. It felt back.
Regal like Cesaro 2 out of 3.
Yeah, it felt like that kind of show again. And if that is what's going to happen, hook it into my veins. Yeah, I thought this was great. I thought that the title change in the main event
tag title was
Completely
great.
got me. The
That was a
tag title
great
was
match.
great. And Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice, except for one of Pop Rocks, which you can understand because she must have been getting so tired. They both must have delivering that move over and over. I thought another great match, like top to bottom. This is such a solid show.
And the way that they did it, and the way they did the finish, and then the way that they explained it on Wednesday was fucking great. Because somebody even commented, I think it was even Brian Alvarez, was calling like Sean Spears an idiot for pulling Trick Williams away from the pin.
Yep.
And then what's the first thing that Sean Spears says when he comes out? If I'd have seen him going for the pin, I never would have pulled his legs out of the way. You're lucky I did that. That's the only reason you're the champion.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they cover that straight away with the fuck yeah, okay, that is silly. Let's make something that means
and remember that
he didn't win
Spears
it by
is
winning it. He won it by
By
getting knocked
getting
out
hit,
and falling on the guy. It was great.
You know, Stan there is in the twilight of his career. He hasn't, he's got less days in front of him than he does behind him. Thanks for getting that reference, Lachlan. Took you a minute. And so I think that...
No, there's just lag.
It's just lag. I think that it's kind of smart that he's showing his wily veteran ways on screen. I think it's interesting. I think it really is. And I thought, look, top to bottom, this was such a good show. The opener was great. Wesley's facial expressions afterwards of, am I calling it a day, really worked. Really got me sucked in. So
Yeah.
I just
and that friggin' move in the opener with Obi Femi and Wesley when he had him over his head and he just threw him in like a circular motion. I was like, holy shit. I think I actually went, holy shit, when I saw it. Because I was like, I wouldn't take that bump. You could get stuffed.
Mm-hmm. But look,
Go on, sorry, Lachlan. You go.
No, I was going to transition to the next thing. You go, Jeff.
I was just going to say, like, every time I see him, Obafemi, you just go, that guy's got upside written all over him. Literally all over.
But yeah, we heard about, Wesley thinking about calling it a day. So speaking of calling it a day, all of Davis Storm's Facebook posts have been hinting at the potential retirement. So, Dave, we wish you the absolute best in whatever you choose to do. But of course, that's me faking it out because the big news is John Cena on Money in the Bank announcing that 2025 is his retirement year. It's not going to be him retiring at WrestleMania. Next year's WrestleMania will be his last, but, quote, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, we're going straight through from January to December. Cena said, quote, we're going to try to do a long list of dates. I think right now, tentatively, it's hovering in the mid-30s to 40s because I'm still going to try to juggle a lot of stuff that's going on, and that will be the end of my in-ring competition. Cena then stated he plans to stay involved with WWE after he retires from in-ring competition. Cena's done it all, and if this is his farewell tour, I hope we see him in Australia so that we can give him a proper send-off, because as much as I was on the we hate John Cena, lol Cena wins train for a while there, you cannot deny the impact that Big Match John has had on the world of wrestling, and especially towards the end of his career, the absolute bangers that he put on non-stop, which ended up really accelerating a lot of the guys that we're seeing on the top of the roster now.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he is truly one of those guys that you could say is like homegrown, like WWE guy, because he came through with the hard time. He carried the company for a long time, even though like they were fighting the trend of wanting, like, everybody wanting him to turn heel, and at stages him wanting to turn heel, and just staying with it. And like eventually the fans came back around. Let's face it, they're back around now. They all like him again. It's yeah, I think he's filming Peacemaker at the moment. So, but yeah, 30 to 40 dates. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. Like, he didn't confirm how many of those dates would him be actually wrestling, or if he's going to go on like house show loops or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go.
I think he'll be on Raw a fair bit, and
Yeah.
your PLEs, really.
Yeah, if we're talking 30 to 40 appearances, that's like once a week, right? Like that's a lot of appearances.
Yeah,
So
well, he will be at the very first Raw that's on Netflix. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And Alex Fireheart is right. It'd be awkward if the Aussie match, if his last Aussie match was the one with the full JBL hair, where he won with a back fist, sort of. Don't you dare disrespect the lightning fist, Alex Fireheart.
They can't all be winners, all right? You're throwing enough pitches, eventually one of them gets hit.
move of doom, baby.
Yeah.
He's storming on you, chumps, like he's thunder and lightning.
Will you stop?
Stop.
I blame you for that, Jeff. I blame this
No,
on
you don't blame me. You don't
100%
blame me.
do. I 100% do.
You blame
No,
him.
I put that on you. I put
He's
that on
still
you.
wearing the training wheels. You can't
I'm putting
blame
that-
me. Because
I'm putting
right
that on
now,
you, Ricky Bobby.
Right now,
No.
I'm hard as
you
nails. I'll
can't
put
see
you
me.
unlock like a
See
parking
what I
jar.
did there? See? Yeah. Anyway, look, this is great business. This is. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to sound
It's
cynical.
smart. It's so very business.
What a
Business-wise, it's
incredible-
so smart.
So smart.
Do you know how much merch they're going to sell for the next year?
Jeez, and those what the time is ending or whatever the merch was. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I wanted one of those shirts. I was like, oh, I
gonna
wouldn't mind
sell
getting one of those.
so much. Hustle, loyalty, and retire. You know, they'll have T-shirts saying that as well. Look,
My time is up.
My time is up. Yeah, exactly.
After this match, you won't see me.
Yeah, that'll be the last one. You won't see me. Yeah, I not surprised really, but really good career. Really good career.
Absolutely. I'm wondering if you boys feel like this was a bit of a missed opportunity here, because as much as it was a good end to Raw, I think this could have been a big end to a pay-per-view moment as Rhea Ripley returned in the main event of Raw, confronting Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan, who were face-to-face in the middle of the ring after a win, and Rhea's appearance sent Liv running. I really think that Rhea being back could have been that's a pay-per-view moment for me. That's a PLE moment.
Yeah, it is. But then, how do you get to that moment in the main event of a PLE? Do you just put Dominic and Ray in a tag match against each other in that main event just to have Rhea come out in it?
I don't think
it made more sense to have it on a Raw where they've been doing this like consistently over the last couple of weeks, having Liv and Dominic being the thread that goes through the show. So it made sense that they did it on the TV and not on a PLE.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I agree with Todd on that. This was so funny. I lost my shit laughing so much when she walked out, because it was that thing of fuck, Dom's dead now. He's so dead.
The scene in the dressing room when she was stretching out his hamstring and you see the heads pop around the corner, that popped me huge. Especially because, like, Carlito,
Carlito's
the
been
funniest
so
guy,
funny.
The funniest guy in that group. That's cool. That's cool. That's not cool.
Carlito's been to the R-Truth school of support.
Yeah, he has. So when he goes, does, and then Priest just shoots him a look and he goes,
not cool.
Like he swallowed.
That's not cool.
Saying, cool. So funny. I think this is. I think it's absolutely leading to Liv Ripley probably as soon as SummerSlam, and Liv retaining. Like they're going to string this out for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe even Liv retaining with Dom turning on.
Help of Dom.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Look, big news here that's just dropped this morning, actually, Australian time, with a rumoured bidding war between AEW and WWE. Stephanie Vaquer, who faced Mercedes Moné at Forbidden Door for the New Japan Strong Women's title and the AEW something three-letter women's title.
TBS title.
TBS, yeah, that's the one. She's headed to WWE. Shawn Michaels announced on social media that Stephanie Vaquer has signed with WWE. He welcomed her to the family and said, quote, "See you in Orlando." this is really interesting, especially with, and I don't know if you caught this news, guys, Drilistico and Roosh signed AEW talents, noted, and I can't remember all the names off the top of my head, but basically they were supporting people who were protesting the release of a dude from jail who was in jail for the attempted murder of Stephanie Vaquer, who was his girlfriend at the time.
Jesus.
So that's all going down on the AEW side, which may have had an effect on this choosing to sign with WWE. But also interesting here is the fact that CMLL made the announcement that she was to be stripped of her title as of, her being signed. So there's also a lot of questions about, well, how watertight is a CMLL contract then? And if people are appearing on AEW...
It was the main title and their tag titles as well. She was holding both.
Mm-hmm.
So both of those got... I found it funny too that this week, I can't remember what it was on, but Conan was talking about working with AEW and working like how they've been working with CMLL, and that he was like, he didn't like, because he pretty much runs AAA.
He's the AAA guy. Yeah.
He's the AAA guy. So he was pretty much like, look, I know that everyone goes off saying this is a great working relationship, and apparently CMLL have a really good working relationship. We didn't have that with them. We had talent that got pulled with us on late notice without much reason why, just because he wanted to use them. Like somebody, there was the thing that came to a head with it was somebody got COVID on the women's roster in AEW, so they pulled Ty Mello from a AAA show to fill that spot. And Conan was like, well, you've got 1,000 girls under contract. Why did you need the one that was supposed to work a AAA show? And then apparently that's when the relationship soured between the two, and we see what's happening now.
Yeah,
so
I remember there being some conflict over like dates for Phoenix was a big one. Both the Lucha Bros, but Rey Fenix specifically was scheduled for title defenses and then got requested for AEW shows on those dates as well. Like crazy stuff. So definitely interesting, all of the things going on around this WWE signing of Stephanie Vaquer, but also the WWE women's division very soon is going to look incredibly strong. Someone in
with
chat
Julia
earlier,
as well.
Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, like they're just stacking up the future of the women's roster, so it's going to be unreal stuff. Also,
it's worth saying that right now WWE would be the place to go to, even though it might offer a little less financially, just because you don't know how much you're going to be wrestling in AEW.
Yeah,
it's got 7,000 people in its roster, most of whom aren't there, and we'll bring back Darby Allin while he's still Crook. Hooray!
More heavy rumors on a WWE signing this time for the Motor City Machine Guns. Love them, right?
Yeah.
Like that's. I know that Todd
like,
has a massive soft spot for the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah, I do. I really do like. And just think like Smack. Oh, there was another thing about the Stephanie Vaquer thing they were talking about. Like she signed with WWE, right? WWE in Mexico this weekend. So she could show up on one of those shows this weekend and do something.
Rumor is that she was backstage at Heatwave.
Yes. So also like talking about Motor City Machine Guns. Could you imagine seeing and Tim Wilkes has just said it here in chat, Motor City Machine Guns against DIY for the SmackDown Championships?
Yeah, because that's news. We also didn't mention DIY new tag team champions after defeating A-Town Down Under.
On SmackDown before Money in the Bank, which was funny because I saw Grayson Waller going, can't believe I lost the tag titles in front of Trish Stratus.
There's also the rumor going around that the plan internally is to split up A-Town Down Under with Austin Theory turning face in the process. Interesting to me that
you can't turn Grayson Waller face. That's the problem.
But
you couldn't turn him face.
There's no way.
Can't.
Like Theory, who's been such a consistent heel for years, you know, to the point of appearing with Vince McMahon on screen, and they're like, well, obviously he's more of a face than Waller. Like, that's great. I love that.
Yeah, well, it's facts too, though.
Yeah, it's true. Tyler Bate unfortunately tore his left pectoral major and tendon off the bone last week at NXT and underwent surgery this week to repair it. So hopefully Bate is recovering well there. Gosh, there's a lot of news coming out of WWE and NXT. Finn Balor recently revealing in a podcast that he's signed a new 5-year deal. He's also expressed a desire to have a match with Gunther within that next 5 years. That would... I want that. I want that a lot.
Yeah, sign that up.
Another WWE sign.
I've put this next story in because I've got a theory I want to throw at you guys, and after you tell the story, I'll get my theory to you.
Cool. So another WWE signing here, officially announcing the hiring of Joe Tessitore, confirming he'll be part of a commentary team with Corey Graves and Wade Barrett starting this summer.
Okay, so Joe Tessitore is a big name in commentary and stuff like that in American sports. Does all the college football, basketball, all that stuff on like ESPN, ABC, stuff like that. Wade Barrett, I've got this real feeling that Wade Barrett is going to end up managing Drew McIntyre.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you.
Doing something with Drew McIntyre. So I think that they're doing this to move him out of that spot.
I think he's going to also wrestle part-time because the guy's still in great shape.
Yeah, he's still in good shape. And he's not injured. The reason he didn't stop wasn't because he was injured. He just wasn't signed by anyone.
He wasn't signed by anyone, and he felt that WWE didn't value him. Clearly they do now because he's an excellent commentator, but he'll be... I absolutely think he'll... And McIntyre doesn't need a mouthpiece, but it'll be a heater. It'll be a heater.
Well, he's the one that can... He's the only one that can talk to Drew and the only one that can calm Drew down. That's what his role is. So his role is to be the calm voice while Drew is just the monster destroying people. And let's face it, the two of them together, they're around the same freaking size. So they would work as a team if they ever had to. I just, like, when I saw that they were putting him with Graves and Barrett, as soon as I heard that, I went, Barrett's gone. Even though I think Graves and Barrett have been doing a great job on commentary.
They've been fantastic.
Like, we don't talk enough about how good Corey Graves has been going from that heel commentary role into that play-by-play role seamlessly in the matter of weeks, to the point where you just accept that those two are the commentators for SmackDown, and they do a really good job at it.
But I think that I think that the incredible thing about Corey Graves is he can then switch back to being the heel color guy as is needed. Like, he was on a pay-per-view being the heel color guy. Just incredible.
And I've got to say, for a few years there, I was really over Graves on commentary, but I'm being reminded of why I loved him in NXT commentary all those years ago, right? Dude can do it. So it's a reminder that, you know, we're having the renaissance of Michael Cole at the moment. It's also, you know, worth recognizing the renaissance of Corey Graves. So that's there. Over the other side of the big divide, that actually Forbidden Door, on Dynamite, Bryan Danielson won the men's Owen Hart tournament by defeating Hangman Adam Page. He's going to face Swerve Strickland at All In Wembley. In the women's half, Mariah May won the Owen and proceeded to brutally turn on Timeless Toni Storm, setting up their All In title match. With this happening, it's also worth noting that Hangman Adam Page has declared himself or offered himself as the fifth man for the Bucks team in Blood and Guts. Meanwhile, Swerve, as the champion, has decided that he will be the leader of Team AEW to prove that he could do what Danielson can't and lead a team to victory over the Elite. What do we think of these winners of the Owen Hart Cup, starting with you, Jeff?
I really like Mariah May winning it. I really like Mariah May. I think so much of Bryan Danielson, I'm not sure I like this decision. And the reason is he has publicly stated over and over again he's not interested in titles, and yet he's in a world title match. It doesn't kind of, there's a disconnect there in my opinion. But Mariah May, absolutely, and a shocking turn, like absolutely shocking, brilliantly done.
They didn't. She didn't overly tease it. She didn't do anything. She just turned around and blasted her with the belt, and that was it. She just went apeshit on her. Yeah, it was really good. This was, to me, this Dynamite was both why AEW has the potential to be great, but then also why they fumble things on the 99-yard line. Like, they had a real opportunity here to do Hangman and Swerve as the AEW main event for thing, and also Nigel and Bryan Danielson. And now I just, like, what are they going to do? They're going to do Hangman against bloody Jeff Jarrett?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, but, like, you laugh, but...
I mean, the answer is probably, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, speaking of what they are going to do, here's the announced lineup for Dynamite 250.
On a fucking Wednesday.
On a fucking Wednesday, we've got Mercedes Moné defending the TBS Championship in an open challenge. We've got Swerve Strickland versus Kazuchika Okada. And we've got the International Championship on the line with Will Ospreay defending against MJF to kick off the show on a fucking Wednesday.
I mean, fuck.
It's a thing.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. Great matches. And I think this Mercedes Moné thing might be the debut of... what is her name? It's off the top of my head. She was the NWA Women's Champion. She's been sitting in mothballs for a while.
I'm not getting there for you. Sorry, Todd.
You know, she was with...
Sitting in mothballs in the AEW Women's Division? Surely not.
Well, no. Camille. Thank you, Tim. This could be the debut of Camille. Because she's not signed. Well, she's not. There's been rumour that she's been signed for ages, but just hasn't shown up anywhere.
Or it could be Britt.
No, because it was anyone but Britt.
Oh, was it?
That's what the open challenge was, yeah. There was a point for it.
I think it's going to be Mrs. America.
Oh, okay. I get you. Yeah.
Put Britt in a mask.
Yeah.
Have her come out. Say that she's definitely not Britt Baker.
No.
She comes out with
Baked Britta, like...
Comes out with a dental
certified
grill.
practicing attorney, CPA.
Yeah.
Dr. Isaac Yakim, DDS.
Alex Firehart says Ospreay MJF, you'd think they would save for Wembley. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Unless they're going to do some sort of screwy finish that leads to it. But it's just, I don't know why you would throw, like, two matches, like Ospreay MJF, Strickland and Okada. And not to mention, like, Okada is a champion as well. Like, are they just going to have Swerve beat every champion?
Probably.
Going through? Because, like, he beat Will. He has to beat Okada.
Yep.
I don't know. It's fine.
No, he's not going to... The Okada match is going to end in nonsense because they're building to Blood and Guts.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right. Bang Bang Gang have been stripped of the AEW Unified World Trios Championships because they tried to use the Freebird rule to replace Jay White with Juice Robinson as champion, along with Austin Gunn and Colton Gunn, but Christopher Daniels stripped them of the belts.
Yeah, sorry, this will happen on Collision. So we should have said spoiler alert, but let's face it.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah, who watches Collision? Anyway.
Here is some big news, though, some exciting news. Josh Barnett announced that Josh Woods will make his Bloodsport debut at Bloodsport 11 on July 28th. In the post, Barnett highlighted Woods' background as an amateur wrestler and his experience in MMA fight camps. He's stated that they'd had their eye on Woods, so it was a pleasure to bring him in. Woods is currently signed to AEW/Ring of Honor. He's a former Pure champion in Ring of Honor. So the current lineup for that Bloodsport is Mike Santana versus Homicide, Shayna Baszler versus Miyu Yamashita, Julius Creed versus someone, and Brutus Creed versus someone. As well
you
as
think
Josh
about it,
lineup.
That Bloodsport show will have WWE talent, Impact talent or TNA talent and AEW talent all on the one show.
Yep.
That's pretty friggin' amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. DDT and TJPW with Yamashita. Like, the number of companies that have people on that Bloodsport show is insane.
Yeah. So, wow.
It's quite something. It's quite something.
Look, that is Tim Wilkes says 2024 bingo. Yeah, absolute craziness. And you can see with the amount of news we've gone through, there is so much going on, good and bad. So it's difficult to pick between it, but we need to talk about what the chicken salad and the chicken shit was. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way and knock out some chicken shit. I'm going to go to Jeff first. Jeff, just so Todd can't yell at me for always going to him first.
I actually had one this time.
Look, it was brought to my attention this week through a number of means that that people, males particularly, are approaching female wrestlers and going, I'm opening a company, come and work for me, send me 3 nudes. You fucking creepy little pricks. Calm yourselves. Don't be sending messages like that. It makes it harder for legit people to book female wrestlers because their guards are up. It makes it very difficult for me to approach people going, hey, I have a comedy panel wrestling show. Would you like to come and be a part of it? And have female wrestlers who don't know about it going, sure you do.
Yeah. Like, I'll be 100%, like, it's people like that have made it hard for me. And a lot of the reason why you haven't seen me interview a lot of female wrestlers that I don't know. Because I don't want to be that creepy guy sliding into someone's DMs going, would you like to be on my podcast? I don't want to be that guy. So normally, like a lot of the times when I've had a female talent on the show that I don't know or I haven't met, it will be through a third party, usually Stormy. I'll usually message Davis and go, because Davis knows everybody who's ever lived and worn a pair of tights in wrestling. Like, do you know this person? Yeah. Can you please be a third party and hook me up, because I want to... Like, it just makes it hard. When you've got creeps out there, it makes it hard.
And pursuant to that, the second part of this is some creepy little muppet just ham-fistedly gawking all over Roxy Perez, who is 24 years old. Give it a rest. Stop doing that. If you see a female wrestler and you like them, say, hey, I really like your work. You're a good wrestler. That's it. That's where the conversation ends. Stop trying to crack onto wrestlers and don't ask them for nudes. It makes it difficult for legit people. Chicken shit done.
Yeah. And also, don't have a promotion and say that you can't run shows, but then like swear you're going to get over to America to see John Cena wrestle one last time. Anyway, that wasn't my chicken shit. My chicken shit... My chicken shit is something that I don't understand. So I don't understand why at the moment in PWA they're doing a velocity breaking up angle. Not when these guys, I feel, were probably so very close to getting on like a New Japan Junior Tag League. It's just, not to mention that they're like tag champions at New Pro, they're tag champions at Slam. Like, I understand you want to do something different and you want to sort of like spread your wings. It makes no sense to me. It's not like strictly a chicken shit, but it's just something that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around why you would want to do that when, like, your ultimate goal for those guys would be getting on a New Japan Junior, like, G1 sort of tournament. That'd be like, for me, if I was those guys, that's something that I believe is very achievable for those two. And, I don't know why I would do anything that might jeopardize that in any way, shape, or form. Especially when it's like at PWA, who sort of have close ties to New Japan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's not a shot. It's just something that I was like, well, I don't know why you would do that.
Yeah.
And I love both those guys. Please don't. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, we can't go a chicken shit without him getting mentioned. So let's do it. Samoa Joe losing matches is a great way to put over young up-and-coming talent, right? Like, that is a big name who is a certified ass kicker, so it makes sense that when someone beats him, that is huge for their career. So a young guy like Chris Jericho managing to beat him in a street fight, I think, is just excellent for the young man. He'll finally get some TV time from this. Chris Jericho, real good up-and-comer young man with a big future ahead of him.
Chris who? I don't know the name.
Yeah, I mean,
This-
he barely ever
this-
appears. So
this month he's the learning tree.
Still don't know who you mean. Anyway.
Alex Fireheart says that their chicken shit is they just keep forgetting Okada has a title at all, let alone the Continental title. Maybe book that better, Tony. Haven't watched AEW in forever, but I remember most of the other champions. Yeah, absolutely. It's and you know, on top of that, let's add in the Young Bucks, who won the title in what was it, like April? And how many title defenses have they had since April? I can tell you, it's 0.
Oh, really? Wow.
0. And are they going to defend it soon? Probably not. They got Blood and Guts coming up. So that's what's going on with those titles.
But it's okay because the Acclaimed are the number 1 contenders. So
let's be more positive. Yeah, Alex Fireheart says, wow, I completely forgot the Bucks had the tag titles too. Let's be more positive. Todd, something good.
Oh, look, watching that that NXT pay-per-view, and really I haven't watched a lot of NXT over the last year, maybe 2 years even. Watching that thing made me want to watch their show this week. Like, because I watched Heatwave because we were doing this. And if we weren't doing this, I probably would have just looked for the highlights on YouTube. But I watched that show and I want to see what they're doing on the actual week-to-week show. And the week-to-week show is, Jeff, you are very right. It is coming back to that black and gold version of NXT. And the fact that they've got this working relationship now with TNA, so anyone can show up on those shows. Either one, like, you know, an Impact, like to see Charlie Dempsey showing up on there. Like, I'd love to see Carmen Petrovic show up on there and do a promo with Santino. Because that's his daughter. Like, if you didn't know, that's his daughter.
That's his daughter, yeah.
I'd love to see stuff like that. There's so much. I find that as even in the short time that they've been doing it, they're already doing it better than what AEW have done when they had with Impact. And I know that they gave Kenny Omega the Impact title and they did all this stuff with it and yada, yada, yada. I still feel more of a buzz for, like, it makes me want to watch maybe Impact a little bit as well because I want to see what's going on over there. Mainly because I'm a massive William Regal mark, so I want to see what his son's doing.
He's very good.
When his son gets some time. Like, for those guys that can't get on, them to get time on those other shows are great as well. So that's my chicken salad.
Brilliant. Jeff?
I have 2. Firstly, the Mariah May turn this afternoon was immaculate. Probably the best thing that AEW have done since way, way, way back. Like for the last 2 years, I'd say. And the other one, Rhea's back. Mummy's back. I am so happy, and they did it so perfectly. As I said, that music started, and the look on Liv and Dominic's face of, like, they looked at each other and then looked at the camera. It was like, oh, we're fucked here. And it was just so perfect. And the way that, like, Rhea just raised the single finger under his chin, like, look at me when I'm talking to you. Just brilliant. Just great. I'm all in on that, and I can't wait to see what happens. Lachlan, what's your chicken salad, brother?
Oh, look at you,
Widely.
sir. Well done, mate.
Widely, my chicken salad is wrestling as a whole is on a roll right now. I'll quickly read Alex Fireheart's. Didn't mention it last week. Gleat version 12 was great. Guy knocking himself out in the opener aside, it was a solid show. Kaz Hayashi's retirement match was a good note to go out on, and the G-Rex title match was peak big meaty men slapping meat energy, and even the UWFI rules match keeping Alex interested. And Keanu Reviews mentioning filling TNA shows out using some talent for an angle here or there based on the NXT Impact trading agreement. So that's really exciting. And that's part of what I'm talking about. Being able to see Joe Hendry from Impact, you know, really get a chance to shine. Seeing the Rascals reunite and that being hot. See Moose over in TNA get a lot of props for the work he's doing as champion. Someone come on and comment, hey, you know, he's presented so much better than Swerve. And Moose going, no, you know what? Swerve's doing great work. Let's not disrespect Swerve.
Yeah.
They're presented differently. That was awesome. In NXT, those women coming up, Kalani Jordan, Sol Ruka, not to mention the women who are signed, like Julia coming through. The one that has me kind of lighting up a little bit just because it's showing that, like, right now, wrestling is a good place to be. And that's ACH returning to the ring. ACH is going to be back to wrestling this Saturday after a 2-year hiatus, right?
It is.
So regardless of everything that's happened there, if he's in a place where he's going, I want to wrestle right now, and it seems like everyone around the world is going, wrestling's on a hot streak. You know, 9 News is going, look at Rhea Ripley and Buddy Murphy getting married. Buddy Matthews, I should say, sorry. I corrected myself the wrong way. You know, there's so much going on in wrestling that is amazing right now. And I know that that's a sneaky way to put over like 10 things as my chicken salad, but I just love when all of wrestling is great. And if you want to hear about all the great stuff going on in wrestling, make sure you're following twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia so you get notified every time we go live. Hit subscribe if you really love what we're doing and want to support us. You know, wherever you get your podcasts, subscribe to us there too. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict. Hit subscribe. It's free. You get all of our episodes downloaded straight there. If you're on Apple Podcasts and you can give us a 5-star review, that really helps us get into more ears as well. If you want to follow us on social media, Wrestle Radio Australia on Facebook, at Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and on Instagram. If you want to get our merch, you can go to Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia, get the merch there. The proceeds don't go to us. They go to Gotcha for Life and Beyond Blue, two awesome charities supporting men's mental health here in Australia. And if you missed any of that information, head on over to WrestleRadioAustralia.com where you can get all of the links. Is there anything I've neglected to mention, Todd or Jeff?
Got it all, my brother.
Beautiful. It is a wonderful time to be a wrestling fan. Tim Wilkes in the chat saying, I'll just continue to hang out here every week. We love that you do, Tim, and everyone listening. We hope you can join and do the same. So until next Thursday at 8 p.m., I've been Lachlan Albert. On behalf of Jeff Setti and Todd Eastman, till next time, have a good one.
Hideo Itami?
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.